Awesome. So we're going to now look at some advanced shout out strategies. So if you're not quite up to this, that's totally cool. You can skip this lecture or you can watch it just to get an overview of what the advanced accounts out there are doing and you can actually work up to. So these are going to be 4 advanced shout out strategies: omnipresence, bulk, shout out schedule, and share for share groups. So we're going to go through these one by one. And if you are already doing shout outs, you need to start doing these 4 strategies. And if you're not yet, you need to keep these in the back of your mind for when you do start doing these strategies. These are going to be what separates your account from the many accounts out there who are your competitors. So number 1 is omnipresence. And it's the strategy of using a selection of your accounts to run shoutouts for you at the same time or simultaneously. Meaning, this person right here, you can see his name is Richard Telf Official. And what he's done is he's gone and reached out to multiple influencers in his niche, and he's actually scheduled them to post at the exact same time the same ad. Therefore, people following across these accounts, which is a lot of people, in a niche, people are going to follow a lot of different people. If they see this come up at least once in their newsfeed, if they see it come up 2 or 3 times, and you can see he's done it, you can see in people's tag posts actually when they do this, he's done it a lot of times at once. People are going to be much more likely to click on it because they've seen it more than once. It's given more social proof, and he's going to get a big rush of followers all at once by having everyone doing this at the same time. So you can use omnipresence and making sure that when you schedule these things and when you get people to shout you out, that it's one big push, and that will really give you a great kickstart for your new account if you do have a new account. Now, when you buy shoutouts, this is strategy number 2, which is just bulk buying. Never buy just one, because what you should do is you should buy more than one shout out from an account, as long as you've done the research and you know that they're a good account to get shout outs from, and it's going to be much cheaper for you. So, oh, sorry, I didn't know that would go to that next slide. Let's just jump back. It's going to be much cheaper for you to actually buy 3 shout outs, so say $350 instead of a single one for $150, because not only are you getting a cheaper price per shout out and therefore a cheaper price per new follower that comes and follows you, but you're actually building more trust with the other person's followers because they've seen you more than once. And if they don't follow you on that first shout out, they may actually follow you on that next shout out and come back and follow you and then buy your stuff just because they've had more exposure to you. So the next thing is you want to make sure you tell the accounts who are actually shouting out your content when to post. And a really cool thing that people do with the big advanced accounts do is they set them up. So say you've bought an array of shoutouts. Say you can see below they've got A, B, C, and D. There's 4 accounts we've bought shoutouts from, and throughout the week we can have them post one day after another. So this is sort of similar to omnipresence where they all post at once, but they all post on a different day that week. Meaning, if you're following multiple ones of these accounts, every day that you log in, you're going to see this person's account being promoted by accounts that you follow. It's going to build so much trust. You can have them post the same content or new content, and they're just going to learn so much about you and be very likely to go and follow your account. Now, the 4th one is what's called a share for share group or a shout out for shout out group. And this is really high power, high leverage, sort of like the DM groups. But once again, you're going to have to do quite a bit of work to get this up and running if you're going to create it for yourself. So it's basically where you are all sharing each other's followers and shout outs. So you're going to have a group of people who all have similar amounts of followers. And day 1, everyone puts a story out that promotes the green dot. Day 2, everyone puts a story out that promotes the red dot. And then day 3, everyone puts a story out that promotes the pink dot. And basically, if you can do this and you can have 10 accounts in your niche that you're promoting just in a single story, so you put out 9 promotions for other people, but on the 10th day, you have 10 accounts which means you're reaching 10 times the audience that you could reach on your own. All promote you. You're going to see a rush of followers for free. You don't have to actually put out your own cash and money in order to get these from the group, but you can actually get these for free by putting out your own promotions to these other people, and you'll see a rush of a couple thousand followers come in really a really short amount of time. So the key here is to make sure you're making yourself valuable, whether that is money, whether that is organizing the group. You need to offer value in order to get this value. But once you do, you'll start to get accounts. You'll start to get results like we did with our account. And it's really easy if you do want to do the legwork and you do want to set up this account for yourself. You can just DM people with a simple template like this. Hey, Pink Dot, whatever their account name is. Would you be interested in joining a Shoutout for Shoutout group? Currently I have a group including, and you list the people who are in that group, and you build that up over time until you have a really powerful, strong group of people who are shouting each other out, and you are reaping the benefits because you may not even have to shout out these other accounts. You may just be the one orchestrating it and therefore get into the shout out. So these are 4 of the advanced strategies, and if it's a little too advanced for you now, don't stress. You can come back to this lecture at any time once you've got your first shout out going. The key here is to get your first shout out going, and once you get your first shout out going, that's really when things start to go downhill in a good way. Things start to get smoother and easier, and the momentum starts building for you. So make sure that you have reached out to 20 people, and you should see a very good response rate to that. But we don't want you to waste your money. So a couple of things you need to do is you need to make sure that you're not just using the current account that you're reaching out to as a representation of what you think the account has always been. So you can actually check an Instagram account's former usernames to make sure that they are in the niche that they've always been in. So you can see this one, which is now called Billionaires Club, used to be called DIY Hacks, which means they may not actually be our audience. So make sure you click on that little button that says former usernames in the when you're viewing their profile, because they may not be who they are saying that they are, and you want to make sure you're not wasting your money. That's what I don't want you to do here. So remember, you want to make sure their account is growing and active. Look at their most recent posts. Look at Social Blade. Make sure they're on their way up, and make sure the engagement in their posts is really high. You don't want to see an account with a very large amount of followers get very small engagement. You want to see an account with very small amount of followers get very large engagement, and an inconsistent engagement is actually better than a consistent engagement. So remember, ask for their stats before you purchase, before you commit to buying, and they'll send you screenshots of their actual statistics and the behind the scenes of their account. And the best pages and the best accounts will be asking for what content you want to promote before agreeing to a shout out. So if they're doing that, you know that they are quite trustworthy and they do know what they're doing. And that's why you need to have your content ready, like we went through in the last lecture, in order to be ready for them to quote you for their shout out.